So Ari, you sold a watch for $500,000?
Believe it or not, people spend significant bucks on watches. I mean, the luxury industry is extremely vast. There are some Richard Milles that will fetch $2 million. People love the brand. It's a very, very, very collectible brand simply because it's just a very limited supply. I don't sell what you need. Not one service I offer is a necessity. It's all luxury. It's all something that you want. I've had people come bring me 2-3 watches, whether it's an AP, a Patek, a Rolex. I'll give them cash immediately. I'll send them a wire straight away. And excuse me for 1 second. I just got to shake someone's hand. Is that okay?
Yeah. I would propose probably, 10-15% of all your clients are accredited investors.
We have way more watches in stock than Rolex does themselves. Yeah, just like the South Florida real estate market. Everyone wants what they can't have.
I mean, you helped me recently to get into the watch game. I got a Rollie with you guys, and I appreciated you guys were awesome with it. So you mentioned like marketing and supply and how those two things drive the luxury market. Can you explain a little bit more what you mean by that?
Well, it's kind of like, that girl that's extremely hard to get, and you just really, really want her, and you just can't get her no matter what you do. And that's kind of what these companies have turned into. They've done significant marketing. I mean, obviously, a brand like Rolex was huge to start with, and they've had significant success for many, many years. But now they've basically brought out extremely popular models, but really limited the supply of those models. So if you go to a typical Rolex and try and purchase one of those, you just can't get it. And that just has made it an extremely popular brand, and people will do anything to get their hands on them. So they'll buy it for way above retail just to be able to get one. And in fact, I have a customer right in front of me here who was looking for a Batman, and was in lists in multiple different Rolex stores to get one, and has been waiting for years and hasn't been able to get one, and came to us, and we had one here on the shelf. It's just a matter of having the supply that Rolex can't give their customers.
Yeah. So what I wrote down as you were saying that is that the marketing creates demand, and then they just limit supply. And when you do those two things simultaneously, you can basically dictate the price.
Yeah, just like the South Florida real estate market.
That's right, brother. I love it. So, and tell me, because I heard recently that Rolex is going to get into the secondary market game. Is that accurate?
That they've already gotten into it, yes.
Yeah, and what have you noticed? Like, why do you think they're doing that? What do you think that'll affect the dynamic of reduced supply, which therefore, causes prices to stay at a certain level?
So we weren't sure as watch dealers and as jewelry stores, we weren't sure how it would impact the market. And it really hasn't impacted the market at all. I mean, if you try to buy a Rolex if you try and get a secondary, if you try and get a pre-owned Rolex at Rolex, it's way more expensive. So they haven't figured out the pricing yet as to where the market's at on them, and it just hasn't really impacted us at all. So it hasn't made any difference to our market whatsoever. The prices are off whack on the secondary market. More expensive than us. So it just hasn't really impacted us in any way.
That's wild. And do you think, as you were saying that, what I wrote down is that, do you think that it's because the demand is so high that it hasn't impacted the secondary market because there's just so many people that have interest?
I mean, it's just, typically Rolex has always sold brand new watches. I mean, Rolex has always been known, you go to Rolex, you get lucky enough to be able to get one. And, that's what they've been known for. That's what they've always done. And don't forget, there's a big pie out there, and we have a little slither of it. And we have, at any given time, 100, 150 watches in stock, and we buy and sell. People can come to us and comfortably trade. So people come to trade with us. People come in to upgrade. People come to sell us their older watches. Like, for example, if you get a call tomorrow for a particular watch from Rolex, and you have a Datejust right now, and let's say you've always wanted to get a GMT Rupiah, and Rolex calls you tomorrow for that GMT Rupiah, you're going to first come to me to sell me your Datejust, and then you're going to run to Rolex with money in your pocket to be able to buy the Rupiah.
That's right.
So we're really helpful on that end to help the flow of money and have an easy transaction with us. You know, you just come in and we'll cash you out in 10 minutes or less on a Rolex. or we'll trade you up immediately, same day. We have something you want, bring us your old watch, and we'll trade you up immediately. So it's just a much easier transaction with us, and we generally typically have way more watches in stock than Rolex does themselves.
It sounds as though you guys serve a very important function in the market, which is allows the flow of money to continue. So if somebody wants to go to Rolex and buy something, they're going to have to go to somebody like you in order to exchange that Rolex for cash. I've seen you count it out, making it rain, and then they can go there and take that and purchase the watch that they want.
Don't forget, it's also if you're struggling financially. I mean, right now there's a lot of people struggling financially, unfortunately. And if you're short of liquidity and you've got to pay your mortgage and pay your car bills or whatever else, and you need money fast, there's little things in your house that you can grab to get fast money. If you need $10,000 today, you can't go to a bank and take it out if you don't have it in your account. You can't get a loan in one day. There's very little you can utilize to get a loan fast. And that's where watches come in. That's where jewelry comes in. That's where diamonds come in. That's where the luxury market, and that helps you. It really helps you in a sense. I mean, talking about real estate, you're in the real estate field. I have people who find really good deals on the real estate market, and they want to put a down payment on a house. So they're financing on a $400,000 purchase. They're financing $300,000. They need a $100,000 deposit by the end of this week in order to lock it in and close, and they don't have that. I've had people come bring me 2-3 watches, whether it's an AP, a Patek, and a Rolex, or a bunch of gold and some diamonds. They'll bring it to me, and I'll give them cash immediately. I'll send them a wire straight away, and they have the down payment for the house. So if you slowly buy luxury items over the years, you're not just spending money on a beautiful steak, and now it's in your stomach and it's gone. In the end of the day, you're putting something that's extremely valuable in the safe that's insured. It's not just like a bunch of cash sitting there. It's completely insured, and you could utilize that when you need it.
Yeah, and I appreciate you bringing that up because I'm aware until recently, I hesitated to do something like that because I thought about it as though like I'd rather put the money into something that produces cash, where what I began to realize is just another form of currency.
Yeah. Yeah,
where
100%.
It's an exchangeable form of currency that not only do you get to enjoy it and wear it and that sort of thing, if you ever needed to convert it, you can immediately.
It's much more than that. It's got the same value all over the world.
Oh, that's interesting. So in other words, from a currency perspective, unlike currency exchanges, if I was to walk into somewhere else, I'm still going to get the same as I would if I was here.
Same value on another planet. So if you're traveling to Europe or the UK or wherever it's going to be, Asia, and you have a Rolex Batman on your hand, and when you're out there you get stuck and you need to get a quick 10, 12, 13,000 or 14,000, you just go into a local dealer and sell it and you get paid out.
Just like that.
And there's literally very few items you can do that with on this planet.
It's very true. I never thought about it that way, but it's 100% true. There's very few items.
I think everything you buy is an asset. Any luxury item, as long as you buy it right and you don't get taken advantage of by the dealer you go to, and as long as you do a little due diligence, you do a little research before you purchase it, you ask us our professional opinion, and we'll guide you. We'll guide you. We'll tell you what to buy, what not to buy, what to expect to lose when you sell it. And, that's what it comes down to.
That's awesome. So in that vein, what would you recommend people be, if they are in the market for, let's say, a luxury watch, what would you recommend people be looking at the moment? Because I know that market has changed dramatically as the economy has changed. People had to come in and, they're selling stuff. So certain pieces have gone down in value dramatically versus others. So where would you suggest, if somebody's interested in getting into the game, is a good kind of entry place to get in, and what they should be looking at?
It's a tough question to ask, and everyone's just on their own level. Everyone knows what they're looking to get. As far as advice, an entry level would be a Datejust. It's kind of like what you got, Aaron.
Sure.
Just a nice, clean 41 millimeter Datejust for a guy, or a nice 36 or 41 millimeter for a woman. And that's just a great entry level. You have a smooth bezel and you have a fluted bezel. So a smooth bezel would be a little less than a fluted bezel. And that's a great entry level watch. Try and get it with box and papers if you can. And you have something valuable in your hand every day.
That's right. And then what would you suggest that people maybe stay away from at the moment?
What should people stay away from? They should stay away from overpaying. That's what it comes
Yeah.
down to. They should stay away from overpaying. But there's no such thing as a bad purchase as long as you're guided correctly. You know, you could buy a nice Cartier as long as you're buying it right. You're good to go. You can get a nice Breitling as long as you're paying the right price. You're buying it right. I mean, if you're buying a pre-owned Breitling and it's an $8,000 watch, you shouldn't be paying more than 4,500 on the secondary market.
Hmm.
So if you go and pay 8,000 on the secondary market for a pre-owned Breitling, you're overpaying. So you just have to really do some research. It's so easy to do homework today. There's so many groups on WhatsApp. I mean, we have a WhatsApp chat that has almost 10,000 people in it,
Do you really?
and yeah, almost 10,000 people on our WhatsApp chat.
That's awesome.
We have 10 groups already that are full on our WhatsApp chat. We open one almost every 2 to 3 weeks. And on our WhatsApp chat, we post watches every single day, almost 15 to 20 watches a day. And that really gives education to our buyers. It gives a lot of education as far as value because you're constantly seeing the watch values every single day based off what we're selling them for. And that gives you a really key. So it's a good educational. If you're interested in Rolex, it's a great way to learn the values and to see the different models and to understand a little bit about each watch that we're selling.
That makes sense. So on the open, I mean, a brand new, let's say Datejust, like I got, might be like 15. So if you're paying more than that or close to that for something that's used, then you're overpaying.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to overpay. I mean, again, when you're buying something to put on your hand and wear it forever, it doesn't matter if you overpay 1,000, 1,500, 2,000. In the end of the day, you're buying it because you love it and you're buying it because that's what you want and that's your dream. And so you get it. But yeah, if you're going to be paying 18,500 for a $15,000 watch, it sucks. It's pointless. Get your wife a nice eternity band with that difference and get a watch on your hand and you're both happy.
Let's go. I love it. He's always selling, baby. So, and, and then what I'm aware of too is something that you've done, which is interesting and it's different than most, is you've been very successful utilizing social media as a mechanism to drive traffic into the jewelry store. So I've told people this story that while I was in the store, I hear you ask somebody like, "Hey, how'd you hear about us?" Somebody's like, "Instagram." I look to the right, it's like, "Hey, how'd you hear about us?" It was like TikTok. So talk a little bit about how you've utilized social media as a mechanism to drive traffic to your particular establishment, because I've seen it in my own business. I see it in your business and it's clearly working.
Well, don't forget, 30 years ago, if you were a business and you had a little ad in the yellow pages, you would stay busy. That was marketing 30 years ago. Put an ad in the yellow pages, make sure your local community knows who you are, and they'll never hear or see from anyone else because you'll be the only person they know. Obviously, we've evolved massively since then, and we're living in a day and age today where if I'm not on social media speaking to you as the customer, 20 other store owners and dealers will be speaking to them. So in the end of the day, in order to speak to my clients and my regular customers, I have to be active on social media on a daily basis in order to keep them captivated and interested in my product and to keep them coming back. Because if I'm not doing it, the guy next door to me will. And when he's doing it, he's going to get their business. It's very simple because if you see something multiple times, if you turn on TikTok and you see Mr. Jeweler, and then you turn on Instagram, you see Mr. Jeweler, and then you go on Google and look up a place to sell your gold, and you see the same guy show up there, and you're going to see that person 3 times. Who am I? I'm now zero. So in the end of the day, I have to. It's the necessary evil today, and it's a hard thing to do, and it takes a lot of effort and a lot of work. And my 16-year-old daughter kind of, laughs at me when I get home and be like, "You're so embarrassing," and it's just horrible what you're doing, and it gives me that look of just complete distaste. But in the end of the day, it's the only way to stay in touch with your customers. Email blasts don't work the way they used to. Text message blasts don't work the way they used to. Typical SEO does nothing for you today, other than cost you thousands of dollars. I mean, Sir Alan Sugar used to say, "I've written books on marketing," and then he would say checkbooks. And in the end of the day, you could spend hundreds of thousands on marketing, but today we have that luxury of being able. Yes, it's a lot of work, but we can just go on social media and just do what we're doing on social media. So we do 3-4 nice little clips a day of what we're doing, interacting with the customer and how we interact and what we're selling, and people will see a picture of our whole business in a 20-second clip. And if they see a few of them, they're going to think of us before they think of someone else to come and do business with. And once they come in, I think we get most people, once they come into the store and they see our environment and they see who we are and they see how we work and they see our integrity, and they see our full bar over here, we definitely capture the alcoholics. And all in all, we have a beautiful environment. It's luxury. I don't sell what you need. Nothing I sell do you need. Not one service I offer is a necessity. It's all luxury. It's all purely based off something that you want, not what you need.
I love that. And that's very true of the evolution, how I ended up in the store, because I was watching a couple other guys on TikTok and they're not even local. But once I saw that you guys were local, I wanted to physically come in. And that's precisely how that worked. The other thing I wrote down is that frequency equals familiarity. So frequency equals familiarity. The more somebody sees you, the more they get to decide if they know, like, and trust you. I saw you guys doing the, I forgot what it is. I know I was playful when I was in there, the Baba Ganoush, the little celebrations that you guys do and like that sort of thing, and watching the negotiations. And then people can make a decision of if they know, like, and trust you.
And I don't know if you realized over the years, being on Instagram and TikTok, you're sitting in the bathroom in the morning, doing what you do, and you're going to scroll through some stories just because, you got 20 minutes to relax in the bathroom. And you're going to scroll through stories and you almost become familiar with people you don't know.
Yeah, you actually create what's called a parasocial relationship with them.
And it's like so powerful. So powerful. Super powerful. And the more you do it, it's creating such a strong bond between you and that person that they almost know you by the time they meet you.
Yeah, and it's not almost that they feel as though they do.
Yeah.
So when my son, when I walked into the store with him, he looked at you, he's like, oh, there's Ari. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's tremendously helpful, particularly in a business engagement, right? Yeah. Where people feel like they know you, like you, and trust you already.
But I mean, eight months ago, I'd never put out a video on Instagram in my life. And it's something I was gun shy of. It's something I didn't want to do. It's a direction I didn't want to go. But I realize it's a necessity for business owners to do it today. I mean, it's the only way to continue to bring in your customers. They're going to see you, they're going to remember you.
Yeah, I heard something recently that I thought was so true, and then we can shift into having a conversation about real estate, is that we no longer live in a world of who you know. We live in a world of who knows you.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's very true. And you guys have been intentional and purposeful about that. You're still, like you said, 8 months in, still figuring it out, still figuring out how to utilize it to its highest capacity, but it's definitely working for you. So talk a little bit about how you're creating this brand via social, Koosh, and now what you're doing is utilizing that as a mechanism to create, Koosh Living and parlay the profits that you're making into apartment buildings.
My partner Sharon, who he opened the doors at Koosh Jewelers 30 years ago, and over the years, Sharon founded Koosh, has been taking the profits he's made from the business, and he's over the last 30 years literally just been buying real estate all over South Florida. And has some beautiful projects here in South Florida upcoming. Owns some incredible pieces of real estate, and we have some really beautiful developments en route. And one of them's almost finished. We have a hotel, which is it's a Wyndham Hotel opposite the Hard Rock Casino, which will be opening in about 5 weeks. It's a 100-room boutique hotel. It's going to be a 5-star hotel. It's going to be a Michelin chef standard restaurant on the rooftop, an actual Michelin star chef. So it's going to be a beautiful. It's a 180-seat rooftop restaurant, which is going to be we partnered up with a restaurant called Fuego. I don't know if you heard of Fuego in Miami.
Sure.
And they're going to be operating and running the rooftop restaurant. So it's just going to be a beautiful boutique hotel opposite the Hard Rock Casino with $1 billion view. I mean, on the rooftop, you see the Hard Rock from the rooftop. So that's $1 billion view, and that's going to be project number 1 that's opening over here. And from there, we're going to be building the LS Resorts, which is going to be down the street from there, which is a 600,000 square foot project. And then from there, we have Griffin Living, which is in the process, which is almost built. In about 6 months, we'll be finished on Griffin Living. And then we have Sterling Living by Koosh, which we're going to be breaking ground in about 3-4 months. And it's exciting stuff.
It's fantastic. And then I'm wondering, are you guys going to be, because I know when we were together, I started to share with you some ideas I had about how you can parlay what you're doing in social. You have a large list. I would propose probably, I don't know, 10, 15% of all your clients are accredited investors. They have individuals that have a net worth of $1 million separate from the equity in their own home, and they could invest with you. So is that something that you and your partner are open to doing, where you're going to parlay the attention and create an opportunity for people to invest projects, not just buy what they don't need from you, but also invest in things that people do need, which is housing?
And that, I think, is my long-term goal, is to eventually have a platform that I can capitalize on that. And I mean, again, I'm no Grant Cardone over here, but I definitely would like to get that attention. And those are the people that I'm trying to attract.
Yeah, I love that. And having done a bunch of investments in syndications, I'd be more than happy to consult with you and have conversations, and obviously look at the project very closely.
I look forward to doing a lot more with you, Aaron. I know you've been busy and I've been busy, and life is busy, unfortunately. And there's little time. I mean, I have a wife and 4 kids, and I know you got at least 1 kid.
I have 2, a son and a daughter.
2 kids, and you're running a business. I mean, you know how busy life, how hectic and crazy. And I wish there was more time in the day, and I wish there was more time in the week. And it's tough, but we try to make time for everything, and utilize our time as best as we can to maximize our job on this planet.
That's what's up. Yeah, we got to get you an assistant, brother, for sure.
Yes.
So you could be multiple places at one time. So listen, man, I appreciate you getting squeezed away for a few moments.
Of course.
You're awesome. So if you like this video, be sure to watch the next one. Don't invest in any assets until you're earning a minimum of $250,000 a year. A lot of agents, when they get involved in selling real estate,